Hi, I'm Rob. It's garage time. So today on the Jag Special Hit Parade, we are working on the parking brake. Here we have the stock Jaguar XJ6 parking brake cable, which I have laboriously threaded into the arms of the parking brake assembly. I shall endeavor to hold the camera steady so that you can see. This right here, this mechanism is the parking brake mechanism for the driver's side rotor. Right here, this is the main brake rotor right here. And these are two arms that pivot on pin bolts that thread into the top of the caliper. This little structure right here is a spring to spread the arms apart. This right here is a pull bolt that goes through. It's also, you can see it's got a crosshead on it, so you can adjust the amount of, you can adjust the pinch. This arm right here has some bits and bobs inside it. It's got a spring and it's got a ratchet for this thing to turn into to help to adjust the width of the arms for pinching. And then what happens is when you pull on the cable, it pulls the lever, and what that does is, we'll drag it out, it pinches these two arms. It pulls these two arms together and pinches the rotor between the two shoes right here. And there's one on this side, and there you can see the same setup on the driver's side. Now the difference is, here is the end of the cable right here. That's the end of the pull cable. It's in its block, and you can see the arm, me pushing the arm. So when you pull the cable, it pulls on this end and then pushes from here at this end right here. It's hard to see. I've taken the stock Jaguar cable, and what I'm going to do is I want to mount it. I want to make some mounts to hold it in place. And then I have to capture this part right here in a bracket, like right about here. And then here, 4 miles down the road, we have the end of the Jag cable, which would have threaded into a fitting underneath the car that would have been operated by a system of levers and to a handle that was up underneath the dashboard. We're not going to do that. But what I have instead, whoopsie, let's pick that up. I'm dropping things around the place. What I have instead is this. And this is a reproduction, a parking / emergency brake handle for an original Beetle. And it's got a couple of good features. Let's put it up here so I can. This is the cable pull. This cable pull is designed to pull two cables at once. The Jag parking brake is just a single cable. I'm going to take this, weld it to the post, put a brace on this side to oppose the leverage of the cable when you pull the cable, and then you pull the lever, it will tighten up the cable and set the parking brake. And so, but that's all going to happen down there somewhere, and I'm not quite sure how it's going to go. So, let's try to make that happen now. Yeah. Pull out the push rod with it. Yeah, so what we're going to do is this. Make it stay in place. There we go. Now, let's go clamp this to the side of the car. stop, we're parked, click, click. And then we reach, whoopsie, yeah. And the sector fell out, but that's okay. 40 degrees, there we are. Here, after we did all this measuring, I went and I did a sketch of what I need to create. And so, I sketched in half scale because that's easy to do on the ruler. And what it winds up being is two tall tabs that mount the brake handle, and then another tab here that comes up, and this is where the bolt for the ratchet sector will go. And then it's all mounted on a piece of angle steel, and this piece of angle steel is going to be made out of 1.5 by 3 rectangular tube, which I will cut along one edge so that I have this flanged edge, and then cut along this edge to get this distance here. And we want it to be 2 3/8 wide, and it's 1.5 tall on the flange. And then we're going to bevel one end of the mounting flange to 35 degrees to match that tube that it goes against over there, even though the tube will be hidden inside the bodywork. And then the actual handle pivot is not going to be a bolt. It's going to be the pivot that came with the brake lever. It's a 0.550 diameter steel dowel with 2 snap ring grooves machined into it at either end. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bore it out for a 5/16 bolt, and then these guys here are the end plates. Here are the end plates. I'll hold them as best I can, and here is the plate for the sector, like so. And it'll be kind of like this. So I have some holes to center punch and drill. I've got some radii to cut, and I've got a base plate to cut and shape, and then we can start welding. Oh, and I've also got to bore out the pivot pin. So maybe we'll do that first, because we're going to get to use the lathe, and that's always a good time. And that is through. There it is. And that, my friends, is at a right angle. And there's that center line. Here's this. There we go. Works mint. Yeah, there we go. Well, here it is, the handbrake mount, all gusseted and ready for mounting. Let's do another test fit with the brake handle, and then we're going to see about making the mount to put this on the chassis. There we go. After a bit of cutting and shaping, it's fitting position pretty well. And so let's go bore some lightning holes across the top of that thing. have the handbrake mount and its plate, which is welded into the chassis now. I've got my reference marks, and I've got 3 pilot holes drilled, not particularly evenly. Once again, eyeball engineering, yay. So now I'm going to clamp it in place. Let's get involved with some match drilling. There's that. And so, Jag Special Parking / e-brake Part 1 is complete. And so here we have the cable, which we now have to secure to the chassis right about there. And one of the things that I decided I would do, have it go into the body here, right behind the seat, and then come out of the body here, right behind the seat, inside this frame tube. And the reason that I want to do that is because when I had it on the outside of the frame right here, I had it mocked up with a clamp. And what I discovered was, in order to get it to lay flat against the body, I had to get in the space where this shock absorber would be right here. The Jag Special will be about half the weight of the original donor XJ6. And so I think because of that, I can safely use a single shock on the rear end. The thing is though, I don't want that cable interfering, getting into the space from here to there, to this shock mount, just in case I have to look, just in case I do wind up using 2 shocks on the rear end. So anyway, we've got the cable running inside the body. I'm going to zip tie it to right here, and then I'm going to figure out where it falls right here, and then make a clamping boss that will hold it to a piece of strap that will go from like here to here. And I think if I use 3-inch strap, I will be able to effectively weld it in place and not have to have one long piece that goes all the way from here down to here. The thing that's cool about this is I'm going to get to use a piece of material that I bought a long time ago. This lovely piece of 1.5-inch square 6061 T6. But first, the thing that I need to do is take some measurements and make a sketch, because I like doing that. Okay, so sketchbook forward. Oh, that's just about, oh yeah, that's perfectly 1 3/16. And it's gonna be pretty great. So, I have enough of a sketch now to make a piece. Let's go do that. I need a file. I need a file with an edge. Oh, here we go. Sometimes when I have a problem starting a cut where I want it to be, it helps if I take a file and make a notch where I want the cut to start, like so. And now I'm going to get all Allen Milliard on this thing. Allen Milliard makes me feel like the hack that I am. Come on. There we go. You know, I was going to make a joke in the video about 4 hours later, but this has gone rather well, and we're only, ow. And that only took about 7 minutes. Okay, let's go square this up as best we can. So what I'm going to do now is on my Harbor Freight drill press. Is this more than 20% risk? You be the judge. Tricky. Don't try this at home ever. Not at home, not anywhere in the multiverse. Just don't. You saw me do it, but that doesn't mean it was a good idea. Here we are, 2 holes drilled on their 1-inch centers for the attaching bolts, and a couple of 1/4 28s slid into the holes for test fitting purposes. Now let's find another drill and drill that drill the cable hole right there. So I got the right size drill. This is a 23/64, which works out to be 0.357, which is the diameter of the stop on the cable end, or on the cable housing end. And so let's bore this hole. Like I keep repeating, I wish I had a bandsaw. I don't. Oh my, that's loud. Here we have, there are the pieces. It's test fit time. Oh yeah, that's gonna work just fine. Boom. There we go. That looks good. Oh my. I can count on the fingers of one hand, maybe this hand, the amount of freehand miters I've done that were this perfect. And that is perfect. And look it up here. See? This fitment is perfect as well. And in fact, one of those miters I'm pretty sure was this tube that it's mitered to. There we go. What we want to do now is just put the drill in there gently and go there we go. Here we go. Oops, take off the welding sleeve. It was specifically placed there to protect the seatbelt from the welding spatter. There is our, now what we got to do is shorten the cable and connect it to the pull plate. That's going to be another real laugh riot. All right, so here we are. Here we have our brake handle. Here we have our brake cable. And the brake cable needs to attach to this post right here. What I need to do is make it so that this cable pull can pull from the inside, because that's where the cable's going to go. And what that means is that this pull, first of all, it's going to get cut off and then welded to the pin and then gusseted on the inside, gusseted on this side, so that it will offset some of the force pulling on it. And that ought to work real fine. So let's disassemble the handle from the chassis and then make all those modifications that I just talked about. that looks pretty good. Oh my God, Rob, you're so one-sided in this argument. Yep, I'm really bad at TIG welding, so let's try it again. For those of you watching this and cringing at my horrible efforts at TIG, feel free to offer me some advice. Because this is probably going to go badly. We shall see. You know, I keep getting those bubbles on it, and I don't like that. I don't know what that's about. See this bubble right here? Yeah, not cool. Well, that's one of the best. On the other hand, that's one of the best TIG welds I've ever done. It's pretty terrible, but you know, oh well. Could be worse. I guess I don't need that anymore, do I? There it is, the roughed out brake lever gusset. Let's take it over to Belt Sander World and make it look pretty-ish. Go. Also perfect. There's our modified Type 1 Beetle parking brake lever. Let's reassemble it. There we go. Hey, look at that. Hey, look at that. So that we can, come on. There we go. Like threading guitar strings. Done here is you can see that line that I've drawn on the cable adjuster. That's the depth of the hole that the cable goes into. So what I'm going to do is I will put this onto the handle and its spot where it goes. Meanwhile, so we bring this up. It's in its guide. Bring it around. And then, come on. Oh no, stop doing that. Stop making me look dumb-ish. And we mark the cable right about there. Right there is where the cable will be cut. Let's cut that cable, stick it into the adjuster, and see if it works. There we go. Awesome and ever wonderful. There we go. It's all the way in. Tighten the hex key. Smush it right in there. Yeah. Tighten down. That is actually not going anywhere. There we go. Let's make sure that we are. And go through that thing. So I cut 1 inch, another inch off the end of the cable, and I put it into the adjuster and tightened the screw. And this time I made sure that it was in the proper track for the cable. The proper track. There were two different tracks. There were two little tabs on the inside of this curved piece here at the bottom of the handle that acts as the cable guide. And I didn't quite have it in that, so that's why the adjuster was all the way out. But now I've got it in place, and I'm going to adjust it up a bit. So what we can do right here, that's, you know, there's about a thread poking through, so let's just tighten the jam nuts. Yeah. There. Go. We got the brake and we got the back wheel in the frame. we will take our handy dandy lever, turn the wheel. The wheel's going around. Set the parking brake. Does not rotate. Good. Well, cool. We are done. We have a working, whoops. Throw tools on the floor, yay. We have a working parking brake. That's right, so this time for sure. Move on to the next thing. And the next thing might be kind of big. But at any rate, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you around the channel. One, two, three, cuatro! Well, my daddy, he raced stock cars a long, long time ago at New England's fastest quarter mile, good old Westboro Road. He and Mom would rally around in their MGTD, but they bought a Porsche 356 to you, my mom and me. I was raised by gearheads, this apple fell not far from under Daddy's tutelage, messing around with cars.